Assetto Corsa was once a game crafted by genius developers to give us the best sim racing experience at home. After years of talented teams and individuals, it has now become a platform for all of your racing needs. Modding Assetto Corsa can completely change the game to whatever you want. How about street racing in Japan's Shotoko Expressway? For me, this is why I play Assetto Corsa. But this video is not to talk about Assetto Corsa whatsoever. This is actually just an introduction to the game that I'm going to be talking about right now. Now, if you didn't immediately cream yourself after watching that, you are not a racing or car fan. This is unbelievable, and it's only a demo. Welcome to Night Runners. This game isn't out yet, but is currently in a prologue or a demo version of the game. The way to play this is by subscribing to Gem's Patreon for £8.50 a month, and you will get a download link to this. I'm sorry, Gem, if this is not okay, but I adore your game like no other. I haven't played a game this good in at least 5 years. There has not been a game that... It's not even a full game. That's what's blowing my mind, is that this isn't even out, and in 5 years I have not played a game as good. In a racing game, I haven't played a game this good in probably 10 years. Night Runners is a work of art. This game is like nothing else that I've ever played, as you've already heard me say numerous amounts of times. But honestly, this is something else. I have never played another game with a sense of speed like this. Need for Speed Pro Street is one of the games that comes up when people talk about a sense of speed, because you feel how fast the car is, and this, it makes it feel like you're going a billion miles an hour. One downside to doing this sort of street racing on Assetto Corsa is that the car is never actually yours. You pick from a list of pre-tuned and pre-customized cars that all handle differently, have different power amounts, but are very balanced, and which is quite fair. But this game allows you to make your car yours, and car customization is one of my favourite things in the world. I could just spend all day making loads of different cars. I don't even have to drive around. But this game nails it perfectly. It has absolutely everything you could ever want. At the start, I showed you a car with 922 horsepower and 992 kilograms in weight, essentially almost making it a Koenigsegg 1-to-1. One thing I didn't like about Forza Horizon is that if your car isn't maxed out, pushing 1000 horsepower, it's not fast or fun. This game handles the feeling of speed perfectly, making bone stock cars feel fast. It makes power figures make sense. People nowadays think anything under 1000 horsepower is slow, but in the real world, anything over 250 brake horsepower is quick, and anything over 1000 is life-threatening. 100 miles an hour in games is just like an average speed at this point. You should basically, instead of putting up 30 mile an hour signs, just put up 100 mile an hour signs everywhere, because that's how it feels in most games. How in this game, 100 miles an hour feels how it should. Now, as you can see, the sense of speed here is still very fast for a completely stock car. What I'm going to show you is the footage of me driving in the same area in this game and then doing the same in Assetto Corsa, and I'm going to just ask you what one, feels faster. In Assetto Corsa, I know I am in first person. It may not be the fairest of tests, but what if I told you that the gameplay on the left, I'm doing 130 miles an hour, and right here, I'm doing 200 miles an hour, and you can see how slow 200 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour feels in Assetto Corsa, and 130 miles an hour feels in a bone stock car in Night Runners. Racing games need a good sense of speed. One thing I struggled with when getting started in Assetto Corsa is it's extremely hard to tell how fast you're going sometimes because there's no feedback whatsoever. All speeds look near enough the same when driving. Coming up to a corner and not knowing your exact speed from the speedometer and going off of feeling is how I've always played racing games from when I was younger. I played a lot of MotorStorm and they never give you a speedometer because they didn't need to. They worked hard on making you feel connected with the vehicle so you feel that you need to brake, and when you know you can go flat out. If you have ever been public karting, the karts don't have a speedometer and it's all done through how the kart feels on track. This is why sense of speed is so important. Night Runners also has an immaculate attention to detail and style. If you're looking at the Speedo right now, you see this little yellow flash at the top of it as each light above you goes by. That is such an unnecessary bit of detail that looks so beautiful, and I'm so glad it's there because it shows you how much care went into the game. Also, when you start your car, there's a thing in Japan which is quite popular called tiny passenger or small passenger, and it's the little voice that you hear. Bear in mind this is in Assetto Corsa on a handful of cars, but that's more because the person who modded that car and made the mod has put that attention to detail in, but it's standard in this game. Night Runner's total aesthetic is absolutely amazing, from the dials that you see on screen as your speedometer, to the fact that the loading screen looks like this, to the fact that they blur people's faces and number plates to hide their identities, to the outfits they're wearing, the phone you use. Absolutely everything is done with intention and not just left to, oh, yeah, that will do. The only other game that I can think that does attention to detail and sort of style in everything like this is Skate 1, weirdly. Yes, when Skate was very first being made, it wasn't terrible. Like, the maps aren't bad, all of the UI doesn't look awful, it is all stylized and fits the theme perfectly and looks amazing. A lot of people don't understand why I hate Skate 3 so much, and this is the reason why. There's no love and care behind that game compared to the first two, and that is my main gripe about it. I mean, look at the outfits of what the people are wearing, especially with Bape being such a staple in Japanese fashion at the time. It is incredible that they went to this amount of effort to do all of this, to make it all so cohesive, to be fully immersed. The way the races work inside of Night Runners, you can find a service or rest station along the expressway in the game which hosts a crew of racers you can compete against and also join when enough crew rep is obtained. One thing I love about this is they sort of act like mini car meets, and I definitely believe this is how car meets will be done in multiplayers when players start hosting their own. You pick a car to race which all have different crew reps with scaling difficulty and power levels. The more rep a member has, the faster their car is, basically. You have this little build-up moment to the race where it tells you, obviously, the City East Loop is what I'm going to be racing, and I do. You then get put inside of your car where you have to flash the headlights at the guy who is basically the light tree, but it's a dude. The intensity builds, and I really love when he pulls his flashlight out, all you can hear is your heart beating and you guy breathing. That is some nice attention to detail right there. After hearing me spew about how much I love this game, there's a couple of things that I would like to change. One thing which I feel would be quite easy to tweak, but personally I'd love to hear, is the backfire sound is basically non-existent. So when your exhaust lets off that loud big flame, it's not loud, but there is a flame. I don't know why this is, but it might just be because he might have not figured out what he wants it to sound like yet, but I would love to feel the force of every time that backfire kicks in, that hard heavy hit that it lets off. I would love a big bang. That's just my thing. Even when you two-step it, the sound is there, but for some reason it's a lot quieter than everything else. So your engine revving is louder than a literal explosion coming from your exhaust, but that just might be a future tweak thing, and it might just be, oh yeah, we're in the demo, so that hasn't been finished yet. The small little cars also driving around are sometimes next to impossible to see. Permanent bright rear lights on them would definitely not go amiss, because the amount of times I've crashed because I didn't see the car at all. The lights that are currently in use are bright red, but then they disappear the closer you get for some reason. So if you're going really quickly, you'll see them for like a split second and then they'll disappear, or you just won't see them at all because of you fully sending it. This might be a me thing, but I find it rather difficult to judge what lane a vehicle is in. The trucks, the cars, the anything, they seem to be in one lane, but when I get closer they appear to be in a different one. I can't 100% say if this is a game thing, and it could just be me, so if it is like that, I'm sorry, don't worry about it. But these are the only things off the top of my head that I can think that need a little change or a tweak, but that's it. That is genuinely it. After all of this gameplay from a demo, those are the only two things that I have to complain about. When I very first played Riders Republic, the first thing I noticed is how horrible the controls are and how the schemes don't make any sense for what you are doing, and I hoped that they would change it by the time from the beta to the release. They would allow you to, oh, I'm on a bike, I want to use these controls, oh, I'm on skis, I want to use these controls. But no, you know, the logic on, oh, riding a bike is not the same as skiing, let's make them the same control scheme. How idiotic is that? I can't give this game enough praise. Everything works to a T. I hope maybe, but this is more of a personal thing just because I really love upgrading, just like your house or whatever. The sense of like, oh yeah, I'm getting better and better and my house is going up. You know, the money on the floor in GTA Online in your office, the more stuff that you sell, that's my sort of, oh, that makes me go yes. I would love something like that, but that's really unnecessary. If you want to add it, oh, but thank you so much, but it really don't bother if it's that much of a hassle. This game has got so much good going for it. I mean, even look at the shop that we're in right now, changing all of the stuff. I love how the aisles look endless. The shop just keeps going forever. It's so nice. Even the way that you buy a car, I don't have any footage of it, it's been looked after. Don't you worry, you will be immersed 100% of the time. Definitely look out for Night Runners when it does release. Support Gem when you can. I'll link the Patreon in the description because you definitely should give this demo a go. There's a link to the Discord as well as my one, but his one is a lot better and it's attached to this game, so that's a lot cooler than whatever I've got going on. So if you want any of the announcements, follow him on Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. I'll put all of the links for that as well, just so you can follow along as well as I will be, because I cannot wait for a beta or a early access release or anything. Just give me more now. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you really did enjoy this video, and thank you very much to the money havers, Andrew, Grim, Luna, Olam, Swoozy, Will and Bryson. Thank you ever so much for supporting the channel. It really does mean the world to me. If you'd like to become a money haver as well, please do press the join button below. Subscribe for more of this stuff, and I will see you a lot later. Goodbye.